Today I'll be patinizing copper using a textured technique. I'm going to be using different medias to achieve this and a few different steps along the way. So without further ado, let's start this out and let's have some fun. Okay, so I kind of prepped the material some more. I went ahead and ripped up this cheesecloth here. It's going to give the textured pattern a little bit of different look to it than the sawdust. You can rip it up or I cut it up. Any cheesecloth is fine. You want something a little bit, whimsy, something you can see through, because this textured look here is what's going to be left on the metal. So I also went and got some different shavings. This is from my jointer. Kind of makes different textured look, a little thicker pieces, meatier than my planer does. And I just did this just because it's, different. If you don't have wood shavings available, I'm sure you can simulate this with many other things. Maybe, even mulch from your garden. How it comes in a little bark form, stuff you find at like the park even. You just want something that can be saturated in liquid and will just have a cool look to it. So, this isn't a science, it's just a step to achieve a really cool textured look. So what I usually do is I first start draping the cheesecloth on the metal here. Make sure it's clean first. I clean this off with mineral spirits, but you can do it with denatured rubbing alcohol, stuff like that. This copper here is a little bit old, so it's starting to get a little bit of a corrosion look to it. Just some kind of oxidation, but that's fine. It's no big deal. So you won't be able to see that anymore. So just start laying out your pieces of cheesecloth here in kind of, a wispy, non-geometric pattern going on. Maybe something like that. Just something that, would be striking to the detail. And just with the sawdust, we're just gonna, start just sprinkling it around here. I'm actually looking through the lens of my camera, so it might not be totally perfect. But you just want to kind of, cover it, just pepper it really good. I kind of like going in with the coarse sawdust first, and then following back with the finer sawdust here. And, don't be afraid to put a lot on there, because this is all going to come off. When the solution does set, you have to be careful with it, because it will be delicate. But I'll show you how to deal with all of that in a sec. So we'll just keep going. Alright guys, so here's the little copper plate that I've completely covered in sawdust now. I've got the cheesecloth in effect there too, and we're gonna go ahead and add the solution to it now. I like to use just a little spray bottle. I think I got this at the dollar store, but it works out great. I've been using it a while, and the chemicals hasn't corroded any of the plastic, anything like that, so I should think it's kind of safe to use. But make sure you wear gloves, or just take the proper precaution, making sure you're careful in using this stuff. What we're going to do now is just go ahead and start spraying the solution on. Like I said, you can soak the sawdust in like a bucket beforehand to get it wet, but I kind of just like drowning it on there once it's all sprayed in. So I kind of spray from a distance here and just work my way around. It's not a rocket science, so don't be afraid to get things extra soaked, because you want it to be soaked, because over time, as it dries, it's gonna create the oxidation in the metal here. So, we even might want to add a few more applications if this isn't dry to our liking. And you can even kind of bury this in plastic, cover it in something where if you want it to sit longer, you can, and keep it from drying. Like maybe wrap it in like plastic garbage bag or get some painter's tarp depending on the project. This little piece is just going to be a sample for a kitchen for a lady's house I'm working on right now. I'm building her kitchen cabinets soon, but we're wanted you know, a backsplash of tile, or if we want to do like a copper look. So I'm just doing this for fun, just to kind of show her, you know, what's doable, what's able to be done with different kinds of mediums, and just something that's really unique and it's not really done very much. So I'm gonna check back in with you when I'm done spraying the solution, so give me a second. Okay guys, so here's what it looks like with all the solution sprayed on there. You can kind of actually see a little bit's happening so far. Only a minute's gone by, so this takes some time, you know, a few hours. I'm actually going to cover this with just a piece of plywood here. It's just a scrap piece of Baltic birch I have lying around, but I'm just going to press it on there just to make sure that, you know, all of the sawdust makes contact with the copper and really gives that textured solution here. So I'm just gonna, you know, gingerly set this on here. Excuse the camera work. I'm just making sure I don't really spread the sawdust around. So there we go. We got it covered. I'm just gonna use some scrap wood here. There's like some Jatoba. That stuff weighs a lot. Let's see what else I got. I'll have some more Jatoba here. So we'll just kind of, that's about, I don't know, 5 pounds weight total. So we're just gonna let that sit, and I'm gonna come back overnight, you know, maybe let it sit 10-12 hours. Take the plywood off here and let it dry some more, and then I'm going to do a washing process where I carefully take the sawdust and cheesecloth off, trying to preserve the textured pattern because it is pretty delicate. And then I'm going to show you my last steps, which is usually respraying the solution and then putting a finish on, some kind of finish that can resist cracking and chipping and this stuff rubbing off. So keep following through, it'll be worth it, I promise. It's fun. So alright guys, I'll see you tomorrow and see where this is, how it's going. Okay guys, so it's been about 14 hours. I just worked a night shift at the hospital, so killed about 12 hours of time waiting on this. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and take the weight off and the plywood off and see what's underneath here, see what the progress is. And I'm most likely going to start washing this sawdust off at this point. And we'll be going in the next step. So I'll explain that a little bit as we go, but let's see how this turned out. Here's a moment of truth. So as you can see, you know, there are some color changes happening that have happened since I've been at work. You can see on the edge there's pretty cool crusty blue looking color. A lot of the sawdust turned black, which is pretty cool because I see there's a lot of blue underneath, so something definitely happened. The light colored sawdust on top, that's just because I put it on really thick and just the oxidation didn't permeate all the way to the top. So I'm pretty happy with this stage. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go outside and wash this solution off into a bucket. I'll be using just like an old paintbrush or old toothbrush or something like that to just gingerly take off the sawdust, because it will be really delicate, this finish right now, so we're trying to preserve. So definitely don't try and scrub it off or anything like that. Just be really gentle and ginger with it, and Just try and get as much of it off as you can, and then we're going to let that dry a bit to let the water dry before we go on the next step. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go ahead and rinse this off and show you guys what's been brewing underneath. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back from washing this stuff off. As you can see, there is a pretty cool textured pattern. If I wasn't, rushing this along just as a fun experiment, it was an actual project, I'd probably wait a day or two longer just to get a deeper pattern effect to it. Right now you can see it's actually pretty dark, but that's because it's still wet. I'll give you guys a sneak preview of what the color will look like. On the back here of the sheet, I actually just left it alone. And just did my spray on without textured look, just to see what was happening. But I'm excited about this texture, because what we're gonna do next is go ahead and spray on more solution, and what this will do is fill in all the copper bits here and really give a cool look to the piece overall. So I mean, just keep spraying and keep applying coats of this stuff till you're happy with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this again, just with my sprayer here, with a solution in it. We're using ammonium chloride and just a little tiny pinch of sulfurized potash. Get a test piece first to figure out what solution you like the best. But we're just gonna go ahead and spray this on again and really give it a good coating. So I'll be back in a minute when it's all soaked, and see you in a sec. Alright guys, so I'm back. I really sprayed it on there. You can see there's actually quite a bit of the solution on there, but that's a good thing for me, because I kind of want to build up a really cool chunky looking layers. So I'm gonna go to bed, and when I wake up I'm gonna check this out, see where it is. I'll probably add another coat or two and clean this up a little bit more as I go. I kind of like leaving little chunks of sawdust in there now, because when I pull it back, it'll just give even more texture to it as I continue to add more solution to it. So like I said, it's not a rocket science. We're just here to have fun and make a cool effect. So alright guys, I'll see you when I wake up. Alright guys, so here is the panel now dry with the solution I sprayed on. Not seen in the picture was me taking off the little extra bits of sawdust just with the end of a brush here. This is my workbench brush. Doesn't really matter. We just want to get that little extra crusties off. So you can stop here, if you're happy with this textured pattern, or you can keep adding more layers. I'm going to add another layer, but just to fill in the little spots here, like so. Just a nice little light spritz. I don't want to completely overdo it. Yeah, something like that. So, oops, just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and let this dry one more time, and then I think after this coat's dry, I'm going to put the first coat of finish on, and we'll talk about that when we get there, okay? I'll be back when it's dry. Alright, so here's the final finish that I've come up with. I'm pretty happy with it. I kind of scraped a little bit extra off with the brush just to get some bare copper metal action going on, and pretty happy with the texture. So what I'm going to do is to be able to put the finish on, I'm first going to put a coat of lacquer on it. I'm going to be using a satin lacquer right here, clear satin from Minwax. They're a pretty good brand. And that's just going to hold the blue oxidation on there, because it's pretty delicate at this point. You could pretty much, rub it off with the finger. So first I'm just going to spray it with lacquer to kind of lock it in place, and then I'm going to come back to it with shellac to kind of build up a coat on it so it won't chip or break on us. So I'm just going to go ahead and follow the directions on the can. I shook the hell out of this, and now it's ready for spray. So lacquer is pretty cool, especially spray lacquer, because you only need 30 minutes between coats, and I'm probably going to do 2 or 3 before I switch this to the shellac. So without further ado, here we go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry. You don't want to put too much of a thick coat on at first. You kind of just want to gradually build up. We spent a few days on this already, getting this copper like this. Why should we mess it up now? So I'm going to come back to it in about half an hour, and put another coat on, and then we'll go to the shellac and we'll go from there. Alright, so here's the final product. I decided not to do a shellac finish on top of the lacquer. I just went ahead and just did 3 coats of a satin lacquer, just kind of hold everything in. Give it some resistance to rubbing off. Let's see, it holds up to abrasion, and it's about the best we can get with lacquer. And I think we got some really cool textures out of this. I'm really happy how it turned out, and I could have kept spraying, and I could have kept adding more layers, but I kind of wanted this time around to get the bare metal of the copper shining through, and just to really give it a cool speckled pattern. So I had fun, and when you guys do this, I hope you guys have fun doing it as well. So thanks for following along with me. I know this is kind of drawn out process, but it's worth the results. As you can see, there's a lot going on there, and it wasn't too hard to do. It just takes time, and it's mainly just trial and error. So thanks for following along, and see you guys next time.